Namaste. Welcome back to Top Tarot Trumps. And today is about the devil. This is the 15th Arcanum, so getting near the end of this series. And for those of you that aren't aware, that I am also doing a Top Tarot Minor series. And so in between the Top Tarot Trump broadcasts, I'm moving through the Minor Arcana. And next up on Monday will be the Two of Cups. I have done a rather extensive video about the Devil card 4 years ago, and it is linked in the description box below. This was my card of the year in 2020, and it's a card that I've definitely sat with over the years. And today I'm going to share with you hopefully some different reflections than in that video, and then maybe you can pop over to that later and dive deeper into the concept of what this card might reveal for you. It's a powerful card. It really is. And I'm going to start with the Primordial Tarot, which is the one on the far right with the mask and the purples and yeah. Okay, so let's begin. This one. It's called the Demon in this card. The demon wears a mask, which is an important ritual tool. A mask is thought to conceal, but really it reveals. Through donning a mask, we free a hidden part of ourselves so that we can find it again. A mask allows us to invoke a spirit so that we may experience it, consume it, become it. When we assume a mask, we hide, we find, we reveal. The demon is really a part of us that we imprisoned, and while locked away, it became frightened or angry. When someone is scared or mad, it can be dangerous. The mask helps us to find and love the exiled spirit so that it does no more harm. Only when we are completely whole can we be completely free. And this is such an important concept in using the tarot for our healing, is that these very sensitive, perhaps even shameful parts of ourself, if we bury them away and we numb them, we never heal that part. We never embrace that part. We don't have conversation about loving that part. And I love the brief words in this guidebook because it's a reminder that on this journey, we don't divorce ourselves from the shadow. We embrace it and we take it with us. The internal whipping post of the table, Vision Quest Tarot. This card is called Torment. It's like that dream that we thought we were done with, or that memory we thought we were done with. But it keeps coming up again and again and again. And every time it comes up, we beat ourselves, but we don't actually embrace it or feel it fully. And so it's really important to look deeply into the mirror and look into the mirror regularly and smile and to contemplate what is being reflected back, to love our whole self. And sometimes I feel that those persons in our immediate circles, the ones that we are having the most challenges with, the ones that make the hairs on our skin stand up. We come home pretty much every day from work repeating the same story about this person, yet don't really examine what that person is bringing up in us. And so this is a card that invites us to look more closely. Hello, Amelia. To feel the uncomfortable and to allow ourselves to walk into the uncomfortable so we can know it and embrace it. This card has many, many aspects. And again, I encourage you to watch the video that's linked below because I'm not going to speak to all of those today. But something that came up for me, Masha, who began this series, shared this card from the Vachetta Tarot, or the Tarot of the Master. And when I was looking at this card, I was thinking about the Bhagavad Gita. And I was thinking about that part where Krishna reveals himself to Arjuna. If you don't know this epic story from the Mahabharata, it's really epic. And it is a journey of understanding what Dharma means in yogic terms. Krishna, who is the charioteer of the warrior, Arjuna, does not reveal himself as God until some ways into the story. And when he does, and Arjuna looks into his mouth, Arjuna sees the whole world, the extravagance, the horror, the whole range of life. And for a time, Arjuna is horrified. He also sees the beauty. He sees the cosmos and all of the planets. And it's just too much. It's just too much for God to reveal himself. And pardon the pronouns. I do have a point here, and it might take me a while to get there. When I think about mythology and this crossover that the devil is God and God is the devil and the devil is God in disguise and God is the devil in disguise and this sort of thing, regardless of how the divine presents, there are deep lessons, and that's not where I want to go. Where I want to go is this. The closer we move along our path, our spiritual path, and the more frequently we have downloads and our signs begin to make sense, probably the more we are practicing, the more we are meditating, or whatever your discipline is to move through your spiritual practice. I know when I am deep in my mantra practice, all kinds of things begin to awaken and open up. And so the stronger that we become spiritually, the stronger our physical body becomes, the stronger our energy body becomes. And the chances of the divine revealing themselves as the devil become fewer and fewer. So when we are most challenged with our own inner darkness, it's when we have forgotten. When we have forgotten that the spark of light also lives within. And so there is this, I really like those words in the Primordial Tarot, that we wear the mask so that we can reveal the light, so that this black and white can marry. So if we want to see God instead of seeing the devil, we need to do our spiritual work. And that's very hard to do when you are wandering in the darkness. Unless, of course, you have embraced your darkness and you're taking it with you. And I don't think I talked about that before, but I think there's an aspect here that some of you might catch on to. This is the Herb Crafter Tarot, Blackberry. This is the Gaian Tarot, which is bindweed. This might be another way that some people more easily connect to this archetype. And I know I have my own relationship with blackberry brambles because they grow like crazy around here. And on one hand, the fruit of the blackberry is just amazing and ripe for picking right now. But those brambles they're just horrible. The way that they cut and they wrap around you and they catch in your hair. And I think we need to be careful. The manner in which we navigate towards our own sweetness, the manner in which we cut away our own brambles. If I look at this in terms of the bindweed card, what's happened here is that non-native plants have taken over, and the native plants are not able to thrive. And if I look at that in terms of, I'm going to use, I don't know, let's use food addiction or alcohol or something like that. It's not, our bodies have a natural survival mechanism, a natural healing mechanism. And when we inundate ourselves with something that is not native to our health and our wellness, it can very easily take over and become all-consuming. So the manner that we harvest blackberries must be very mindful. Oh, the layers to this card are just so very, very complex. And it's hard, actually, to weave all these different aspects together. This is from the Mother Peace Tarot. And when I look at this card, I think about the danger of putting anyone really up on a pedestal. And often when someone is put up on a pedestal, it is part of we don't have the inner strength to work on our own self-empowerment. And let me use the example of doing live readings on YouTube when people ask disempowering questions, and they ask me questions that include the word should. My role as a reader is to take myself off the pedestal and to empower the person asking the question. I feel so strongly about this. If I use this in terms of, there have been lots of stories where priests or gurus in temples have found themselves in very sticky situations, and they've either been kicked out of the organization. There's been all kinds of horrible information in the media. It has also taken a toll on the followers or the following of that organization throughout the world. There's always a misunderstanding in these situations, yet sex is one of the main stories that seems to arise here. And I don't know, this idea of temptation, the idea of the exploration of the sensual world, all of the senses, the tastes, the smells, the touch, the experience, and living in the world becomes all-consuming, like the blackberry brambles or the bindweed. And we lose sight of the fruit. And I think there's a piece here that we there's a lesson that we didn't learn in the temperance card. There's an expression that I try to share with people about the senses, that they act like naughty children. And when our senses are acting like naughty children, we need to recognize that. It's never a good thing. And so part of the journey of yoga is to dial the naughty children out of the senses so that we don't react so passionately to smells and tastes. And life is more peaceful. It's more even keel. So this card it's deep and it's dark and it's mysterious and it's painful, and it takes us to places that we don't want to go. It takes us into these dark corners of stuff we'd rather leave alone and hope they will go away by themselves. But the truth is, when this card reveals itself, it says it's time. It's time to go there. And the beautiful part of this is that if we embrace and love and look at that darkness and say that, yes, it's a part of me, over time we can find some comfort and peace, and it doesn't disturb so loudly. So when I'm reading, and I think what I'm looking for here in a top 5 devil card, and you'll see a whole bunch more of them in the video if you watch, that's linked below. I want to be able to use relatable examples so that I can share this with the querent to help them to dive into looking at and holding a hand out to these shadowy parts. And sometimes we just need to say hello to them. Hold out a hand to your darkness and just say hi. We don't have to relive the experiences that created this darkness. We just have to hold its hand I've got you. And we don't need to keep telling our story over and over and over and over. We just embrace it and it becomes a part of us. Hello, Karina. Namaste. All right. So, for sure, the Gaian Tarot card, I think that is really, really powerful. And the Primordial Tarot. And I need to work with this analogy because I was just prompted to think about it when Masha shared this card. And oh my goodness, her Il Menengello version of this deck is so beautiful. And I'm not going to include this in my top 5, but I want to expand my storytelling when this card arises in a reading, to do a better job at helping people to understand why the devil keeps presenting over and over and over, and how it can become so debilitating. It's just too overwhelming. The Vision Quest card is really powerful. So these are easy top 4s. Yeah. And I think I'm going to use the Mother Peace. And this is not so much, if you have the Mother Peace guidebook, the extra guidebook, I didn't really talk about putting, well, I said, okay, so let's use the tarot reader thing. I feel really uncomfortable when I am asked questions that seemingly put me up on a pedestal like this. So a querent says, should I marry so-and-so? And I'm like, whoa. So are you, do you think I'm channeling God? Or are you putting that much trust in a stranger that you don't know? So immediately it leads me to want to work with the part of that person that doesn't have the strength or the knowledge or the experience to come up with a question such as, is exploring a relationship with said person in my highest, or going to support my path towards, I don't know, whatever it is. Yeah, so I think this is a really good card, and also a reminder of, there's so many times when we put people up on pedestals and how dangerous that can be. And I think that's an immediate signal to ask ourselves, why am I putting myself down lower and lower? Okay, so for today, top 5 devil cards left to right: Tildewick Tarot, Vision Quest Tarot, Mother Peace, Gaian, Primordial. Thank you. I will be back with the Tower card in a couple weeks' time. And until then, I hope you enjoy the Top Tarot Minor series that I'm continuing. Take good care of yourselves. Namaste.